Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got the 806 here. I got a few things I want to get done to it. I've been putting off for a while. One of those things is getting rid of the old Pioneer style couplers here. These are not couple under pressure. I did add this unit on here. I borrowed this from my buddy's tractor because it wasn't going anywhere anyways. And I want to switch to these, but not quite. See, these are international, and these are Pioneer adapters. So in a way, this is no different than that. Yeah, I can kind of couple under pressure, but it gets complicated sometimes. So I put this on last year to run the baler, so I could lift the pickup and run the baler. I did not have any hydraulics on this side. That's the way it was when I bought it. The valve and everything was there, but there was nothing here. So I'm going to go to a pair of kind of like these, and I'm going to run hoses to them each, so everything will work real nice. Get rid of that old stuff. Those couplers I borrowed from my buddy's tractor. That one. Yeah, they're going to go back on there. And I am going to use these. They were off the burnt tractor. But they are going to get this kit put in them. This took 6 months or so for me to get. Apparently the company that sells these was shut down for, I don't know, a year. I finally did get them right before fall. And these got to get cleaned up and rebuilt, improved. So I'm going to get these tore down and then put these in there. Grabbed an assortment of different tools here to try to get these apart. I have been unsuccessful with getting this part out. Hopefully I can get it to come out. Seems to be fighting me a little bit. Well, that's not working either. Gotta get it in there all the way, huh? Come on now. Well, that worked. Got one more part to go. Not too hopeful in that. Oh, look at it. It's going. Got it, yeah. Now, we got a clip in here we got to get out. See if one of these tools will get it out of there. Cannot believe that's loose. Oh, almost had it. Come on now. should come right out now if I understand how this works. There we go. One IH valve. Get this other one out of here. Got jammed on there. It's all emptied out. Just got to take these off. You guys took that kind of hard. Sorry about that. See if I can get the vise a little tighter. If you guys are worried about me being hard on this vise, just remember this. I took this out of a scrap metal dumpster. I put new jaws on it and a new nut in here. And just the other day, I snapped the bolt, the Acme thread, trapezoidal thread, whatever it is in here, snapped it off at where the snap ring goes with the spring. I welded it back together. This thing doesn't owe me much. I'd love to have a new vise, kind of like that one that the Fireball guy has. That would be slick. Now, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to clean this thing up. It's not really a whole lot to show you guys in there. It's pretty hard to film in there. So, if you haven't seen that yet, click on up here. I got a video of putting that together and talking about a little bit and whatnot. Well, it didn't turn out too bad. But one thing I noticed is that's cracked. And there's not really any threads in there because they're still on the bolts. So I'll have to see. Hopefully it doesn't interfere if I put a nut on the back side here, but this is still going to get ground down and welded up. think I got that plenty deep. Not too bad. A little bit of a wave in there, but this side faces the tractor. Yeah, you'll never see it. And like I said, I'm gonna have to put a nut on it. Hopefully it'll work. Could probably go with a bolt that way, not on this side. Get this touched up a little bit more in the sandblaster, and I'm gonna throw some paint on here to keep this from rusting. Went through this one together, did a little bit of experimenting on it. Looks like it's good to go. So you can see this one has no holes in here. I should have probably thought about this before I painted it, but yeah, it'd be all right. So this is from a 66 or an 86, and so is this one. But these sockets were originally offered in an 88 series, and the 88 series, when they used these, had a hole drilled all the way through, and that is for the drainage. You don't have to do that with this kit. I just wanted to do that, so I'm going to explain to you what the kit wants you to do, and then I'm going to show you what I did on this one using this one. And I might chew up the paint a little bit in the process, but at least you can see what your options are. So when you go to the 88 style like this, you can do one or the other kind of nipple on here. Some of them actually have something that almost looks like a greaser, but it's, I don't know, a check ball in there, I'm not sure. But this way you can put a hose on it. And is what the purpose of that is when you couple and uncouple, there will be some weepage, and that will get it away from everything. So is what they want you to do in this kit, which is different from what I did, is you cut that little V out. Hopefully you can see that. You make sure you cut it out on the right side, and then that's your weep point. So instead of weeping through the hole, it would weep out the front, down the face. These are made for, the 88 series. They actually have a international part number on them there. But if you don't want to go through the work of drilling and tapping your housing, you can just cut that little notch out and it'll be fine. You just don't want to not do one of these two things, because when you go and couple, you might spray oil all over that accumulated in here. This cap here fits in this groove. This groove here fits in this groove with a snap ring. So I went and measured off this. Basically this goes flush with the front here. So I just centered it about there. And then I made a mark as close to the center as possible. On both sides. Then we'll go over to the mill. So I got a rag in here to try to prevent some of the damage to the paint. It's obviously going to get some damage to the paint, but this stands a little bit proud of this. So I just wrapped up a file in that rag to help keep everything straight. And then I have a centering bit. I'm not the nicest to my drill bits, so they like to wander around all over the place, so I got a centering bit. That looks pretty close there. Start up the rotary phase converter. If that wasn't far enough, I'll finish it off by hand. So this one I'm gonna drill all the way through. I'm gonna stick a different bit in here. This is gonna be drilling all the way through the metal. That's all there is to it. Now I'll just check for any kind of a burr in there and smooth it out if you need to with a little bit of emery or file, but it's not real crucial because it's just that dust boot that goes in there. So I did rack the paint a little bit, but not too bad. It'll get touched up. So now for the kit. In the kit, we have 2 of these rubber boots. We have 2 bodies. Old one for comparison's sake. A little bit different. And I'm not going to jam this in here, but it's a direct fit in there. So 2 rubbers, 2 bodies. You have some clips, some bolts, the back plates. You have a couple different options in O-rings and the instructions here. So they don't really tell you real good here. Shut down tractor before disassembly, etc. They recommend using the square O-rings, which is what I used on that one. I suppose you could use these round ones that go together easier, but it probably won't seal as good. So there's kind of the diagram of how it goes in there. So first of all, you make sure that all your grooves inside there are clean. Scrape them and blow them out. This first one here, both these went through a fire. This one here had charred pieces of O-ring stuck in them yet, so I had to scrape quite a bit and blow it out. But these outside ones here are going to be the easiest to get in. These here, you're going to have to kind of reach down in there. Make sure you get it in the right spot. It's going to be next to impossible to show you on the camera. But You just kind of get it in there. I'll show you a little bit better on the outside ones. And make sure you do not twist these when they're in their slot. You want them to be straight. You might have to contort them a little bit to get them to go into their slot, but once they're in their slot, they have to be untwisted, no twists. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could do these on the tractor, but it just seems to me that it would be easier for some of these steps to do them off. So you got that one in. I'll go jam this one in here quick. It actually doesn't take too long to do this. Mine are taking longer because I'm doing extra steps, but I bet you could convert a set of these within a half hour pretty easily if everything goes good for you. And you just kind of stick these in there and they walk right around, and then you got this little part that you got to contort in. Perfect. Now, so far that's all been the easy part. Now, this has a little bit of a taper on it, and as does here. Well, these have to go in there, and they have to force that O-ring out. So they actually go in there pretty hard. Lube them up real good, every which way. And they just go in there like this. So it just popped over one O-ring. I'll get this one in there. This one must have a little bit of shmoo in the casting, that it's kind of sticky. Should be more like this here. But now we have to drive it past some other ones. Got them all the way in there. Now these are just retainers. They just have a little bit of a step on it. They just kind of fit in like that. I put a little bit of blue Loctite on the bolts. Probably wouldn't be a good day if you're out in the field and your bolts rattled out and you went and hit the hydraulics and the coupler just shot right out of there. I'm going to torque them down about that much. So them two O-rings are in here, hydraulic oil go in here. This is basically done besides putting the rubbers on here. This is usable like this. So these clips right here, they're for retaining these caps. You want to put it so the opening is towards that slot. just like that. And then this is where you would slit these. You just cut it like that V all the way up to this hole. Now, depending on which orientation you're going to mount this, if you're going to mount it this way, you'd have to cut them both down here. If you're going to mount it the other way, you'd have to cut them both up here. Where what International did by having these holes all the way through here, it doesn't matter which orientation you put this thing in. So I'm going to lube these up and just slide them on in there. Got to get them started a little bit with that snap ring in there, and then once they go, they don't go too bad. You shouldn't be able to see the snap ring. If you can, you don't have it on there good enough. Since I drilled them holes in there, I have to put some plugs and fittings in there. The way I do thread tape is I hold the fitting away from me and always have a roll of tape to my left over the top. If you have to hold it in a different orientation, you just got to think about which way the threads go, because you want to make sure you get these on the right way, or the tape will just unwind as you thread it in. There we go. You don't have to overdo these. They're not really holding any pressure. And then I'm putting a 90 in here. And then our fittings here, these went through the fire. I sandblasted them, got them cleaned up pretty good. They're not too bad looking. Going through O-rings on here. So the whole point of this swivel is so you can get this where it needs to be, and then you tighten this down. And they'll be something like that. So for demonstration purposes, I have the finished coupler and I have a Pioneer tip. Now this is going to be a little bit different because it's not mounted to the tractor, but just kind of put it in there and there it is. Now I should just be able to give a pull and it's out. Where on these, you'd have to play with this and pull on it and whatnot. And besides that, to run Pioneer, you would have to have an adapter. Well, guys, hopefully that helps somebody out. I mean, that's another option you can do to tidy things up a little bit, and it's not that bad to do. Well, I'm going to get this put onto the 806. I got some hoses here. Join me next time. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless. You want to run them?